Hello and welcome to Blockchain Gaming World with me, John Jordan. So in this video, I'm just going to have a quick look at what's going on with Solana. So I guess there's been a lot of interest in Solana over the last really kind of 3 or 4 months. Mainly that's been due to the sort of the price increase of the token, the Sol token. But I think it's good to see, there are suddenly a lot of games being announced for the Solana blockchain. And I kind of thought it was worth maybe spending a bit of time looking at what's going on there, because partly because as far as I can work out, there's nothing actually really live yet. But there are an awful lot of sort of games announcing they are going on Solana. And, there's reasons why you might want to do that. Solana is supposed to be, or is a very high speed sort of blockchain that works in a specific way that might make it useful, particularly for games. Although at the moment, really, the bulk of what's going on Solana is really DeFi. Sort of stuff, which is what we see often when blockchains sort of starting to build momentum. Is a lot of the DeFi stuff is there, and it's yield farming, and I guess on Solana it's stuff like Radium, the DeFi platform, which is allows you to do some yield farming, and they having sort of token raises there as well. So Star Atlas, which we'll discuss, did their sort of did their IDO on that as one option at least. There were other places it was live. Anyway, so on the Solana blockchain website, we can see here, a whole bunch of sort of projects. So they're saying here 350 projects built on Solana, but here, if you look at this, it's looking like 500. So obviously we don't care about sort of most of these things, although it's kind of good to see what sort of things are being built on blockchains. What do you need? You need AMMs and DeFi and exchanges, and I mean some of these things are maybe that's why this says 500 here and 350 here. Maybe some double counting. Some obviously games, governance, infrastructure, funding, NFTs. Okay, all that sort of stuff. So let's have a look at. Even if we're saying 350, so there's a lot of stuff on here. Games and gaming is gambling. So games we only have 13. So the first thing is, there's not many games, and this is because games are hard to do. Even if you're making sort of what we call a GameFi game now, which is basically probably staking some NFTs or buying some NFTs and then sort of grinding out some sort of token. These things are still hard to do. So let's have a quick look here. So we have. So most of these, let's have a quick look beforehand. I just really haven't heard of these. So the Pixel Dudes, no idea if they're, if the Pixel Dudes are dudes or what they are, but they're NFT community. There's some sort of gambling stuff here. There is, I mean, you read some of these things and it's kind of very unclear. So this is an NFT, an app, a game, and a DEX. This is looking like an NFT project, and there's going to be some sort of battling going on there. We can go through these. So it's interesting that on the official Solana website, there's absolutely nothing of sort of substantial gaming. So I know of plenty of blockchain games running on Solana that have been announced, but they're not here. So I'm not saying these ones aren't good or anything, but these ones, are not the ones people are talking about. So let's actually go and have a look at some actual sort of projects that look like a bit more interesting game-wise. So obviously, first up we have Star Atlas, which is I think pretty much was the first game to be announced on Solana. Way back in 2020, I'm thinking, when I first read about it. So it's a game, and it is, they've raised a ton of money. What is it now? $40-50 million to make this game. Very high-end sort of space, one of these sort of EVE Online style experiences. So a whole bunch of stuff going on here. And one thing these guys are doing very well is sort of marketing themselves and building a community, and it's a really nice website. So I'm going through all this sort of stuff. Obviously, not obviously. I keep saying obviously. I shouldn't mean obviously. So this is a game where you can buy NFTs at the moment. You can buy Spaceship. There is 2 tokens, so sort of a typical utility and governance token. So those have been available for a couple of months. So the whole sort of thing we tend in these games have like factions. Let's choose these, whatever these ones are. Is it gonna? Can I even choose them? Okay, I don't know. I don't think I can choose them yet, can I? Lots of stuff going on here. Come on, let's come out of this. So there should be here the marketplace. So there's a whole bunch of interesting stuff going on with the marketplace in terms of sort of selling first our NFTs and now selling some of these ships. What is in the showroom actually? I've not looked at the website since they updated it, which is why we're going on here. No, I think you're going to show us artwork. Okay. So anyway, I'm not going to go through all these games in incredible detail. Here you have the marketplace. So they have a really high-end sort of visual thing going on here, and the marketplace I think is sort of a really nice implementation. So there's these things that are ships and things like that are already out there and can be traded, and going for enormous sums of money because people are very interested in this project. And there's a lot of money in the Solana ecosystem. So this one is selling for $29,000 or $28,900. And if we go here, yeah, so here we have sort of like it's a nice implementation of trading. So you can kind of see these are people who, this is what they want to sell these ships for, the PSC9. So some people will sell it at this amount of Atlas is one of their tokens. So I don't know if they're going to do it in USDC. Okay, so some people are selling it in USDC, some in Atlas. So USDC, the cheapest one I can buy is $49,000. Someone will sell it to me at $49,000, but the cheapest someone wants to buy it so far is $37,000. That's like the, that's the spread, I suppose, as we would call it. So if I wanted to buy that here and I was connected to my wallet, I could go in and do that. And obviously, I don't have $30,000, $37,000, or even $49,000 to spend on a spaceship. But I could do that now. So there's some nice sort of infrastructure stuff. Obviously the thing at the moment is there is no this is a very big game. It's going to take many years to sort of be released in all its stages. So there's I think so there are the plan is for stuff like mini games and or maybe mini games is the wrong word, but starting to have sort of interactive experiences which are not the full game, and you sort of build it up. So anyway, I think sort of everyone would agree that Star Atlas is sort of the biggest, most impressive sort of game on the Solana blockchain, but it's raised a ton of money, and it's going to need a ton more money, I think, to get to where it wants to be in the end. So that's sort of the very high end. There are a whole bunch of other ones, so let's quickly sort of run through some in a bit less detail. So next up we have again another high profile game, sort of never quite know how to pronounce it, Aurory, which is a more like we can see what's going on here, sort of RPG elements. And a sort of Pokemon type sort of thing going on here. So that's the catching element, isn't it? Everyone's sort of trying to redo Pokemon. So play to earn desktop game, and a whole bunch of NFTs and stuff like that. Obviously, like Paper got its own token, Aurory token. Again, this is a game sort of went under the radar a little bit, I think, but they have again raised an awful lot of money. Again, coming from there's just a lot of money on Solana to a degree, and not that many sort of games. Again, this is a very sort of high end. Ambitious game. You can sort of get an idea from sort of the artwork. So yeah, it was the largest IDO. So this is them selling the token, and they've done really well out of that. But again, it's sort of, I mean, look at the investors. This is sort of interesting, particularly I think for Solana. We see a lot of the Solana sort of Foundation or Solana Ventures funding stuff. Almeida Research and Serum, which is sort of the same things, and Almeida Media Research is the sort of research arm which eventually came to create the FTX exchange and Sam Bankman-Fried and all that sort of stuff. So these guys are really the sort of core funding for a lot of this sort of stuff. Obviously, they have billions of dollars of value, so they're driving a lot of this sort of stuff. And that's why people are coming to make games on Solana, because there is value to be made there. So let's not show that again. So here we can see some of these are the NFTs in this game. So we can see here, I can't remember what's Solana at the moment, over $200, something like that. So you can sort of get an idea of the math. So we're sort of talking here, this is probably the cheapest. So we're talking about $400 entry level here for some of these NFTs, which is obviously more expensive than Axie Infinity. And the big thing about this is, this is a game in development. So at the moment you're owning these sort of things, and not really doing very much with them. Again, we can sort of see the price. Looks like the price is going down slightly. This is what I can buy it for. That was the last price it sold for. So a whole bunch of stuff here. Again, I mean, I think I'm sort of really excited to sort of kind of play this game again. You can do some staking. So everyone has staking these days. So we can stake some of our tokens and we get 28% APR. That's sort of estimated, but pretty much every game now has this sort of staking mechanic. So you're just sort of buying tokens and you're getting some level of interest. So another sort of interesting sort of quite high end game. Okay, next up is Solchicks. I didn't realize that. Good timing here. So within 3 minutes, it's IDO is going to go live for its Chicks token. So Solchicks is this is a sort of League of Legends type game, but the characters are based around chicks for some reason. I don't know. I mean, chicks are quite popular in certain parts of the world, I think. So anyway, we have this idea that you're sort of League of Legends, sort of MOBA type game, and all the characters are chicks, and the token is called Chicks, and it's about to go live in 2.5 minutes. So I think through various launch pads, I'm sure that'll go very well. So these are the chicks, a bit of gameplay sort of stuff here. Again, this is lots of people have invested or are partnering up with here. That's the team. What did I want to go and find? I wanted to find the marketplace. So again, this has which one should I choose? So again, this has NFTs that are live, but the game isn't live yet. So we can let's have a look at the price low to high. So the cheapest one here is 14 Sol. So again, trying to do the maths on that, was at 14. So sort of $300 ish for these sort of characters. Again, 2D representations of what will eventually be 3D characters. Yeah, that's what's going on there. And I say the tokens just going live will definitely be live by the time this video's out. So you know, it is interesting. I think you know, you're seeing these quite sort of you know, ambitious games being put together, and sort of assets going live on blockchains. So sometimes not even on the Solana blockchain. You know, I do kind of think a little bit the Binance Smart Chain is sort of a place where a lot of finance stuff happens, and there is some NFT trading. Solana is still, I think, even quite early even for that. There's some good DeFi stuff on there, but we haven't really seen. You know, there are some NFT projects, but I think it's still sort of fairly early. So games having to do a lot of heavy moving on the Solana blockchain even before they get to games, because they have to sort of build all this other infrastructure or sort of build this community around things like that. So this is the Magic Eden NFT marketplace, so sort of like a version of OpenSea, I suppose. But it's just not. It doesn't. You know, obviously Solana hasn't been around for long enough to have the sort of the depth of trading that something like I mean, even like a Polygon would have, but certainly nothing like an Ethereum. So people having to build this sort of stuff out. So recently did a video about GenoPets. So GenoPets, this idea of a move to earn NFT game. So sort of again going to the Pokemon, very much sort of a version of Pokemon Go, I suppose, or inspired by Pokemon Go, where you have these NFTs and then a mobile game and you're moving around. And that has some element of sort of earning as well. And obviously you have sort of this is all sort of shown on mobile style screens. So you're sort of collecting or having NFTs, you're sort of fighting NFTs. Again, a very sort of ambitious game, really. We know how hard it was for sort of Pokemon Go to sort of build up its sort of infrastructure, and lots of location-based games, struggle because location-based games are just really, really hard to build. But here we have this running on Solana, again, very early for GenoPets, really sort of in the sort of early stages. Raising funding and sort of trying to build a team together. So again, highly ambitious, but some ways off in terms of actually getting a product out. So next up we have Decimated. So this is a game that's actually been in development in various forms for quite a while. Since certainly 2019 in the concept stages. So it's a third-person survival role-playing sort of shooter game, and it's interesting that this was originally going to be on the Polygon blockchain, and then basically switched fairly recently to Solana, mainly for funding. So it's raised tens of millions of dollars on the funding side here, and actually even back in the day it was an Ethereum-based game, I think. So again, even though it's been in development for a while, it's sort of building out sort of vertical slice type gameplay, and have a look at updates. So again, I wouldn't expect this sort of to be launching anytime soon, because it's a fairly big sort of project using Unreal. So they've got a grant from Unreal Engine. Here's the sort of thing talking about moving from Ethereum to Solana, and as well as sort of building these sort of game stuff out, you're sort of building a team and all this sort of stuff. So again, one to watch out for, but probably going to be towards the end of 2022, I would imagine. Okay, and then I was going to say saving the best to last, but that's a bit rude for some of the other sort of projects. But this is Mini Royale. So this is a game that's actually live, but it's not actually connected yet to the Solana blockchain. So it's sort of funny that I've gone through a whole bunch of projects that will be using Solana, but don't have games out yet. But do have NFTs and tokens, whereas this game is live, browser-based sort of shooter. I've done a few videos on this already, so maybe we won't go into that. But it is a game that's live. It's just not connected to Solana yet. And this is sort of, for me, I think going to be the first sort of good example of something that is running. I don't think it's not going to be running on Solana in terms of the servers are not going to be running on Solana, as far as I know. But they are going to integrate NFTs and then integrate a token, and then probably over time start to decentralize a bit more. So. This is as I say, it's like a shooter game. You sort of get the idea that it's been put together fairly quickly. So 6 months or so dev time. So it's not in the sense of the deepest sort of game. So we have these sort of various modes at the moment. We have team deathmatch, not team test match. Battle Royale, capture the flag, and basically sort of free for all sort of thing going on here. We have a bit of sort of battle pass. Actually, I can claim my attendance award. I'm going to get some gold, which is maybe that'll be that'll be a hard currency at some point. At the moment, just a soft currency. My daily rank is obviously 0 because I've not done anything today, and level 5 in the game. So it has all the some of the basic sort of things we would look to see. As I say, this is yeah, I mean, this is quite fun to check it out. I think it's always good with a game it's going to come on a blockchain and have NFTs in it and all that sort of stuff. So it's sort of good to get a bit of a head start. I've not got as much head start as I would like. I should be higher than level 5. But anyway, it is what it is. So that's a sort of overview, I suppose, of what we're seeing on the Solana blockchain. I think, as I say, lots of interest around it. Certainly lots of sort of investment, lots of velocity around that, lots of sort of building. Still really yet to see our first sort of live blockchain game or a live game connected to Solana in any meaningful fashion. And I guess the one thing I would say is, which I get a little bit worried about, is ambition. So I think ambition is good, but also getting stuff out there is good. So there's this slight sort of tension I find with Solana, that there's just a lot going on now, but a lot of the sort of more ambitious games, granted that they are going to sort of release mini games or release sort of things you can do in the meantime to keep the community sort of interested. But it can be a little bit too, I think developers can be a little bit quick to get tokens and get NFTs released, obviously to raise money, but then they can be but then if your development goes slower than you think, then you can sort of have this very elastic gap between when you would like to get stuff out and when you actually get stuff out. And I think that can be problematic for communities to have that kind of level of cohesion. We will see what happens. I think there's going to be obviously many more games launching on Solana in the next sort of 6 months. So maybe I'm being slightly overly pessimistic, but it's good to see really that there are these sort of deeper games that are being sort of planned around this. So now it's just a question of seeing how they actually sort of turn out in the actuality. So anyway, thanks for watching the video. A bit of a longer one this time, but good to get an overview. If there's any other games on Solana you think are interesting that I should be checking out, obviously please put that in the comments. But thanks for watching this one, and see you again soon.